Marlene were in their usual corner, Boyke looking particularly smug as he adjusted his silk tie. "I hear you've come into a bit of official money, Dell," Boyke drawled, his laugh sounding like a machine gun in a library. "50 grand. Hardly enough for a decent cigar, but for you, it must feel like the crown jewels." "Jealousy is a terrible thing, Boyke," Dell shot back, slamming a stack of notes onto the bar. "A round for everyone," said, "and make it the good stuff. None of that house vinegar." "Nice one, Dell boy," Trigger said, nodding slowly. "I knew you'd win. I had a feeling in my water." "You always have a feeling in your water, Trig," Rodney sighed, leaning against the bar. "Usually it's just the plumbing." As the night wore on, the alcohol flowed and the stories grew taller. Denzel talked about the trial, Denzel still shaking his head at the memory of Trigger's testimony. But beneath the laughter, there was a sense of relief. The Trotters weren't just back in the money, they were back in their element. "I'm telling you, Rodders," Dell whispered, his arm around his brother's shoulder, "this is just the start. 50 grand. That's seed money. We're going to turn this into 500. Millionaires by Christmas, I promise you." Rodney looked at his brother, seeing the old spark back in his eyes. He knew it was unlikely. He knew they'd probably lose it all on a shipment of one-legged trousers or glow-in-the-dark Bibles. But for tonight, he didn't care. "Yeah, Dell," Rodney smiled. "Millionaires by Christmas." Chapter 8. The Morning After. The sun rose over Nelson Mandela House, casting a long shadow across the parking lot where the yellow van sat, a silent witness to their roller coaster life. Inside the flat, the air was heavy with the scent of stale celebration and burnt toast. Dell sat at the small kitchen table, a mountain of paperwork spread out before him. The Inland Revenue, the Customs and Excise, the various business associates who had suddenly rediscovered his phone number. "What are you doing, Dell?" Raquel asked, coming in and placing a hand on his shoulder. "Just planning, sweetheart," Dell said, his voice quiet. "This 50 grand. It's a lifeline. But we have to be smart. No more sure things. No more Central American markets." "You mean it?" Raquel asked, her voice full of hope. Dell looked up at her, and for a second, the mask of the salesman slipped. "I have to mean it, Raquel. For you. For Damien. For the memory of the old man." He looked at the empty chair where Uncle Albert used to sit, telling tales of the war and the sea. He could almost hear the old man's voice, warning him about the sharks in the city. "We're going back to basics," Dell declared, his voice regaining its strength. "Trotters independent traders, buying and selling, finding the gaps, being the bestest." Rodney walked in, looking like he'd been dragged through a hedge backward. "Are we still millionaires, Dell?" "In spirit, Rodders," Dell grinned, tossing him a set of keys. "Now, get the van started. I've heard a rumor about a shipment of slightly used digital watches in Sidcup. We've got work to do." As the Reliant Regal roared, or rather, coughed to life in the parking lot below, Del Boy stood on the balcony, looking out over his kingdom. The seasons had changed, the tides had turned, and the trotters were still standing. "Cushty," he whispered to the London wind. Chapter 9, The Sidcup Hustle. The drive to Sidcup was an ordeal that only the brave, or the desperate, would undertake in a three-wheeled van with a heater that emitted nothing but the faint scent of burning damp. Rodney hunched in the passenger seat, his knees pressed against the dashboard. "I don't like this, Del," Rodney complained, pulling his scarf tighter. "Sidcup, it's practically in the countryside. And these digital watches, who's the contact?" Del wrestled with the steering wheel as the van hit a pothole. "It's a bloke named Nifty Neville. A diamond, Rodney. He's got a warehouse full of them. Latest tech, water resistant up to 3 millimeters. 3 millimeters? Del, that's a light drizzle." "Exactly. Perfect for the British climate," Del replied, beaming. "And get this there solar powered. No more batteries. You just show them to the sun, and bingo, you know what time it is." They arrived at a desolate industrial estate that looked like a set for a post-apocalyptic film. Nifty Neville was waiting, leaning against a rusted shutter. He handed Del a cardboard box. Del opened it to reveal a sea of plastic watches, each one flashing 12 o'clock with desperate urgency. "Look at that, Rodders. Pure class," Del admired, strapping one onto his wrist. He held his arm out of the van window, waiting for the weak London sun to work its magic. Nothing happened. It's a bit shy. That's all," Del muttered, shaking his arm vigorously. "It needs a bit of oomph. Give it a rub, Rodney." Chapter 10, Solar Power in a London Fog. Market day at Peckham was a symphony of chaos. Del stood on his favorite pitch, the cardboard box of solar watches front and center. "Step right up, ladies and gentlemen." Del's voice boomed over the crowd. "Don't look at the price. Look at the quality. Are you tired of batteries dying? Are you sick of losing time when the lights go out? Well, worry no more. The Trotter Solar Watch is here." A small crowd gathered, drawn in by the sheer audacity of his delivery. "Is it waterproof?" a woman asked, pointing at the plastic casing. "Is it waterproof?" Del laughed, a sound of pure mock indignation. "Darling, this watch was designed for the French Navy. You could dive to the bottom of the Thames, and it would still tell you it's time for a cup of tea." Just then, a dark cloud moved over the market, and a thick, gray fog began to roll in. One by one, the displays on the watches began to fade. The flashing 12 o'clock became a dim memory, then vanished entirely. "Oi, my watch has gone blank," a man shouted, holding up his wrist. Del didn't blink. "That, sir, is the echo sleep feature. It's saving power